everyone, this is Burundi National TV broadcasting live from Bujumbura, economic capital city. English News Edition top stories. This Monday, the Ministry of Home Affairs held a meeting with the governors, communal administrators, and executive secretaries of the communes. And as the objective of the meeting was to discuss the organization and administration under the new administrative division. He stated that the work they are going to undertake is a vacation. And abroad, Kenya's capital city entered a state of partial lockdown today as authorities moved to prevent mass demonstrations planned to mark the 35th anniversary of Sabasaba, pivotal moment in country's democratic history. These were headlines. Welcome to news in details. I'm Joseph Murindajam. The President of the Republic of Burundi, Evariste Ndayishimiye, calls on Burundians, especially civil servants, to develop the agricultural sector, a source of sustainable development. He made the statement this Monday while participating with the First Lady in the potato harvest in their fields on Mehe Hill in Muramvya Commune. And on his turn, the Secretary General of the ruling party, Reverend Kurio, calls on newly appointed administrative to work for the interests of the population that elected them. He made this statement during the opening of a 5-day retreat taking place at Isonga Seminary dedicated to Saint Jean-Paul II. And as I said in top stories, the Minister of Interior made a meeting today held with the administrative officials who are going to continue the administration, who asks them to work hard as this work they are going to do is a vocation. Jivon Ndayishimiye has the story.
Minister of Home Affairs, Martin Terese, congratulated the newly appointed governors and the communal executive secretaries. He stated that they are expected to present a new image of Burundi's administration. He also commended the work carried out by administrative and the judicial police officers before, during, and after the deputy and the communal councils elections held on June 5, 2025. Martin Terese urged the new governors to make development and the security the foundation of their leadership in administrative terms, and emphasized that a governor must be aware of everything happening in his province across all sectors. The population fulfilled their civic duty by voting. It is now our turn to serve them, he added. Martin Terese also reminded the new governors and the communal executive secretaries that the responsibility ahead of them is a true vocation.
And the Minister of Justice organized a meeting of the Justice and the Rule of Law Secretary Group this Monday in Bujumbura in the partnership with the European Union. Although challenges persist in the judicial sector, the Minister of Justice, Domine Banyanhimbona, welcomed the progress made in the implementation project in collaboration with the partners. She also called on for strengthening actions in areas where problems persist. Jackson Irako's reports.
During this assessment meeting, the Ministry of Justice provided an update on the progress of the project it has committed to implementing in the collaboration with its partners for the period from 2023 to 2027. The main objective of this meeting was to review the implementation of the commitments made and the presence of the technical and financial partners supporting the ministry. The aim was also to identify the main obstacles encountered and to jointly consider sustainable solutions to overcome them. In his remarks, Hajandi Gervais, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Justice, expressed his satisfaction with the level of implementation achieved to date. However, he emphasized that several challenges remain, notably the dilapidated state of certain infrastructure, calling for continued rehabilitation work and increased efforts in other key areas. In response to these and other issues, the Minister of Justice, Domine Banyankimbona, also expressed her appreciation to the partners who are supporting the implementation of these projects. She particularly thanked the UNDP, the European Union, and the World Bank for their significant contributions. At the same time, she urged them to remain committed to supporting the implementation of these initiatives in the justice sector, as some challenges and dysfunction still persist. This kind of meeting is organized by the Ministry of Justice every 6 months to review together with its partners the progress made in implementing the planned projects, the challenges encountered, and to seek sustainable solutions to lift those blockages.
We stay in Bujumbura City. The minister responsible for finance received this Monday Zarau Kibwe, administrator representing Burundi on the board of directors of the World Bank, in the presence of various ministers and permanent secretaries. They discussed about the challenges and opportunities for the country's development. Elsie Kamkama reports.
Here is Zarau Kibwe, Executive Director of East Africa Group 1, who represents Burundi as well as other 21 countries to the World Bank. As has said now Nestor, Minister of Finance, the aim of visit is to have discussions with different stakeholders in the economic sector, such as different ministers as well as permanent secretaries in different ministries, about different projects under implementation, so to know the challenges met and the other projects in view, so to represent and do a lobbying for Burundi, according to now Nestor, Minister of Finance. Among the projects presented are those of tourism, mines, industries, and Kajeke Dam. Note that Zarau Kibwe, Executive Director of East Africa Group 1, is to continue meeting other economic stakeholders this Tuesday.
Closing home news. In the last week's sport news, we will present to you two major events. The award ceremony for the key actors of the 2024-2025 Premier League, organized by the Football Federation of Burundi in collaboration with the Brarudi, as well as the organization of the third edition of the beach volleyball tournament and other sporting activities in various disciplines. Jivon Daishimia once more.
In football, this Friday, the Football Federation of Burundi, in collaboration with Brarudi, organized the award ceremony for the key players who stood up in the Premier League during the 2024-2025 season. Kaman Karim was named Best Player of the season, while Jimmy Daizeye was voted Best Coach. As for the top scorers, the title went to Edi Nimobona. Rajab Ninahazgwe was awarded Best Young Player of the season. Jamari Harerimana was selected as the Best Goalkeeper. Other awards were also given to individuals who distinguished themselves either during the current championship or in the past. The president of the Football Federation of Burundi offered words of advice to clubs and players. Alexandre Muyenge encouraged them to stay focused on football. To club presidents, administrators, and coaches, Alexandre Muyenge encouraged them to continue mentoring young players starting from an early age. About volleyball, the president of the Burundian Volleyball Federation announced this Sunday that Burundi will host the third edition of the International Beach Volleyball Competition. Serge Nakavura stated that for the third time, this international tournament will take place in Bujumbura from August 20th to 2024 this year. On the logistical side, Mr. Nakavura mentioned that the ministry in charge of sports, in collaboration with the Federation's Executive Committee, is working to put in place all the necessary means. He also indicated that 15 countries have already registered and more are expected. Several others have already contacted the Federation by email to request information on the registration process. The president of the Burundian Volleyball Federation called on Burundians to attend the matches in large numbers. This is Saturday, a training session for coaches and the referees of the member clubs of the Jogging and the Walking Federation was held. According to Joseph Nunguka, President and Rigo, representative of the Federation, the aim of the training was to equip referees with the technical skills necessary for fair and impartial officiating. Also on Saturday, the closing ceremony of the educational sports program for children and youth based on Olympic values took place. The program was initiated by the Olymp Africa Center. Participants were trained on the values of respect, excellence and friendship.
Crossing borders now, as I said in top stories, Kenya's capital city entered a state of partial lockdown today as authorities moved to prevent mass demonstrations planned to mark the 35th anniversary of Sabasaba, a pivotal moment in the country's democratic history. Have a look.
Tear gas, water cannons, even whips. In Nairobi Monday, the police used almost every tool in their arsenal against the few protesters who'd managed to gather in defiance of the government's lockdown of the city, where they lit bonfires and hurled stones at roadblocks. The government, which says it's committed to protecting life and property, had made it as difficult as possible for people to demonstrate Monday, closing roads into the city's centre to almost all vehicles and pedestrians, leaving many streets deserted.
They've blocked the roads. They're blocking us from our work. I'm a roadside vendor and I need to get to town to buy merchandise to sell along the road. But they've closed them. What do they want us to eat? People are being beaten like dogs for protesting for their rights.
The youth-led protests in June 2024 initially focused on tax hikes, but expanded to cover frustrations over economic stagnation, corruption and police brutality. Last month, the death of a blogger in police custody also became a lightning rod for public anger.
Closing roads does not mean people are not going to protest. We are going to protest. The police should come in peace. By the look of these trucks, it's clear they want violence.
Monday's planned demonstrations also mark the 35th anniversary of pro-democracy rallies on the 7th of July 1990 that paved the way for a transition from a one-party state to a multi-party democracy. Today, as protesters call for President William Ruto's resignation, he has no clear challenger, having forged an alliance with the main opposition leader, Raila Odinga, ahead of the next vote in 2027.
Now we leave Kenya for Syria before closing. The wildfires are sweeping through rural communities in Syria, displacing families, destroying farmland and cutting off essential services in an area already weakened by years of conflict and economic collapse.
Fires have been raging for 4 days in western Syria. The UN says hundreds of families have had to evacuate their homes and that swaths of farmland and vital infrastructure have been destroyed. Authorities say that 80 teams have been deployed to fight the fires fueled by high temperatures and strong winds. They're also working on rugged terrain littered with explosives, remnants from years of civil war.
We have recorded a large number of fires put out, but there are still some hotspots, some of which are in a dangerous stage due to rough terrain and steep slopes. More importantly, these areas or hotspots contain unexploded ordnance and landmines.
Nonetheless, fire and rescue teams made up of the Syrian civil defense and UN workers have been aided by neighbors. Jordan has sent firefighters and Turkey has deployed several trucks and 2 planes. Teams are also trying to prevent the blaze from spilling over into the Al Franlak Reserve with its large interconnected forests, reports Syria's national news agency.
More than 20 teams and humanitarian organizations are currently present in the coastal countryside, creating a sense of social solidarity. Organizations have come from Aleppo, Homs, Damascus, and even neighboring countries like Turkey and Jordan to respond urgently to extinguish and calm the fires.
UN Deputy Envoy to Syria, Najat Rashdi, has called on the international community to provide more aid to the country to address the blazes as it recovers from more than a decade of...
Well, that's it for me now. Thanks again for watching. Programs continue on Nation TV. Stay tuned and take care.